desire can be broken.
Welcome back to our yearly roundup video showcase of the best and most popular mods created in 2023. I like to keep these intros very short, but it's worth noting that this year has been incredible for Skyrim mods and its community, and it being unaffected by Starfield's release convinced me that this game will not be fading into irrelevancy for at least another 5+ years. This time around, we have 25 amazing mods to showcase, creations that completely change the weather and color grading of the game, unbelievably realistic skin textures for all actors across the NPC spectrum, major collision fixes that drastically improve regular gameplay, and much more. We'll begin with very recent release that aims to completely fortify Whiterun and turn this center of trade city into heavily defensible point of interest. It does this by introducing massive walls all around the entire city, as well as borders between districts, and does this without a single nav mesh edit. The implementation of the mod is pretty nice as well, as it uses base object swapper to only edit Whiterun meshes instead of opting for regular replacers, potentially editing reuse assets somewhere else in the world space, and became the main competitor to Fortify Whiterun mod, previously showcased on this channel in the Best Mods of 2020 video. Personally, I love this mod, especially the way it was implemented, as no nav mesh edits is a huge bonus for someone with a lengthy mod list, and additionally the author showcases A+ modding ethics by providing a plethora of patches for other popular mods that edits Whiterun Cell. Whiterun Overhaul aside, previously yearly roundup video did not include one of my personal favorite landscape mods ever to be made, and since it did receive a bunch of updates and fixes throughout the year 2023, it was an easy decision to include it. Northern Roads, a complete overhaul of every single road in Skyrim by removing all the vanilla road chunks in the game to replace them with a more diverse road types, most notably dirt paths for wilderness and village areas. The mod also puts a lot of emphasis on different cultures and symbolism, and also gives each hold unique features in form of different road types, clutter, and rundown decorations. It also does this by focusing on Nordic symbolism in certain areas, and Celtic and Slavic in others, for a more diverse aesthetic separated by Skyrim's holds. Thank you to War Thunder for sponsoring this video. They are a war simulator game that I myself play from time to time, which is why I decided to continue my partnership with their team. War Thunder is the most comprehensive free-to-play MMO military game for all platforms, whether PC, current, or previous generation consoles, that is dedicated to aviation, armor vehicles, and naval vessels in a dynamic combined arms PvP battles. The game offers fast-paced, realistic, and tactical experience with intense PvP encounters, whilst also offering you an in-depth customization system for all your vehicles, spanning over 100 years of development from 1920s to the present day. You can fly pretty much any aircraft with nothing more than a mouse and a keyboard for intuitive gameplay experience, and all supported by pretty awesome graphical fidelity all the way up to 4K resolution and impactful sound effects to help get immersed in its gameplay atmosphere. Once again, undoubtedly the coolest feature the game offers is dynamic and detailed vehicle damage models, where suffered incoming damage is received to components, and where with damage X-rays, you can inspect that same damage received to you and your opponents. So go ahead and download War Thunder for free on PC or consoles by using my link in the description below, as there is a large bonus pack for you to take advantage of, such as premium account, boosters, premium vehicles for new and returning players who were inactive for at least 6 months. Huge thanks to War Thunder for sponsoring the channel. As far as visuals are concerned, 2 ENB presets stood out for the year 2023, one being Cabbage ENB for natural atmospheric Tamriel 3 weathers. Cabbage ENB has been previously covered on this channel before its official release on the Nexus, and has been the most popular pick in the past half a year, as it offers a fantasy-themed aesthetic with vibrant colors whilst taking advantage of all features ENB series has to offer, from volumetric lighting to parallax effects for that extra depth for your textures that support it. It is currently my main pick that I use with additional reshade effects, as its color grading offers a perfect blend of vibrant but gloomy that I always go for my Skyrim, supported by NAT that also provides incredibly diverse weather types. The second one is picked up by my good friend Ashley, who approached the visual overhaul from 2 fronts. The first one is achieving an ambitious goal of providing Skyrim with 77 unique weather types, completely separate from the original game, utilizing her own enhanced volumetric lighting and sun shadows. The second is coding the game with colors that she would describe as neither realistic or fantasy, but rather color choice that focuses on believable visuals supported by Silent Horizons 2. The result is cinematic and dramatic visuals, with clear weathers being colorful but not overly saturated, balanced brightness and contrast levels slightly favoring blue and cooler tones. One of the most active parts of the modding community are animators, which is why I have a separate series covering animation mods, and with few additional frameworks being released this year, there have been some really cool little mod releases that focus on non-combat animations for your role-playing endeavors and boosted immersion for your next playthrough. Let Your Hair Down, a mod that allows users to switch between two hairstyles based on location or manually. A neat little mod excellent for roleplay, supported by very nice animations, and that gives full control to the user by allowing a choice between auto-switch options, manual hotkeys, and hair selections. Similarly, we got Read the Room. The implementation is almost identical to the previous mod, it's just that this time around, through immersive equipment displays, helmets and hoods are incorporated into equip and unequip animations that are also controlled by the hotkey or triggered at certain locations. Because of the way it was implemented, it works with any modded armor, and also supports circlets as well. You can set it up so it equips and unequips headwear in certain areas or situations, or you can just simply press a hotkey, as the MCM menu will give you full control over how you want to utilize the mod. Varied Masculine Idols, a simple mod by Sonder for your male characters that reanimates and offers 8 new seamless idle animations that last up to 15 seconds. The mod utilizes OAR and provides your chads with hip placement idols, belt holds, or just a simple weight shifting, bringing life to your characters. Female counterparts have received the same treatment with varied feminine idols, and the implementation attempts to provide a more feminine touch to idling. It also provides female characters with 8 new idols in form of hip placements, handholds, and light stretches, which also seamlessly swap between one another for less repetitive loop. As far as the best non-combat movesets, once again the title goes to Levi as an animator that in my opinion makes the most stylistic movesets. Vandergand and Leviathan 2.0 versions have been created, and they cover walking, jogging, and sprinting for both female and male characters. Combat in 2022 and 23 has received some ridiculous updates where you can turn the game into anything you want, going as far as to replicate Devil May Cry's combat. And I can hear the Skyrim Puritans cringing already, but you do have to understand modders were too busy figuring out whether they could, that they never stopped to ask whether they should. Anyhow, Valhalla Combat has received its last update few days before 2023 hit, which was enough for me to give it a spotlight. We already covered it extensively in the past, but a brief run-through of its features are stamina consumption on all attacks including light attacks to encourage tactical gameplay, as well as 5 times stamina regeneration increase for all actors on the battlefield to counter previous feature, time block system inspired by Sekiro, first for melee where 0.3 seconds blocks deflect incoming attacks, and secondly projectile deflection that uses magicka as its primary resource, as well as stamina regeneration for every clean hit landed on a target, and all as a part of a script-free implementation for any combat setup. Rapid Bow Combo. Now this is my favorite combat release in 2023. It overhauls archery in general by introducing a bunch of movesets where different key inputs would perform different attacks and animations. It almost essentially is a framework on its own, as all archery attacks have their own movesets in form of multi-shots, dual shots, side shots, jump shots, and acrobatic dodges mimicking rangers from BDO. It also introduces craftable secondary as a part of archery that no longer makes you a sitting duck once melee targets catch up to you. This same secondary has movesets of their own, which further increases gameplay complexity, and it actually takes quite a bit to get used to. Just like with a bow, secondary weapon offers multiple movesets, from side sweeps to regular frontal and backward attacks for a super fun gameplay. Dynamic impact / effects, on the surface tiny and insignificant, but in practice one of the coolest effect mods that provides fantasy-like impact to every hit. You can choose to have a white slash accompanied by blood, or just blood slash on its own. Recent updates added new effects for skin and metal surfaces like dwemer, insects, or bone. Playing with combat mods with this effect is incredibly satisfying, as every hit visually provides feedback to the player, and one of my favorite things about it is that the slashes actually follow the direction of your weapon swings, and does this without a single gameplay change, essentially making it a must-have mod for any combat setup. So watching back this combat footage, I have noticed something, and let's see if you caught it as well. Quick rewind. Right there, I have by accident mid-sneak moveset dodged an incoming spider spit attack. Do you know why that was possible? Dynamic collision adjustment. Another banger mod by Immersion that essentially fixes collision markers for the player, so if it physically looks like you can sneak under it, you will be able to. It also adjusts a bunch of other creatures in the world space, as well as give them a proper scaled collision fix. My personal favorite magic mod of 23 comes in a form of a simple expansion pack by the name Stellaris, which is a spell pack that is balanced around vanilla spells, visually carrying a cosmos theme. Now, as a big fan of astronomy and cosmos in general, you can kind of understand my bias here, which is why Starfield turning out the way it did makes me sad more than I'm willing to admit. Anyway, Stellaris is a spell pack that scales based on Restoration School of Magic and offers great variety of spells that are visually stunning and range from support type spells like auras and heals to offensive type spells that mimic other elemental types, dealing increased damage the more magicka it consumes. The spells are balanced and not overpowered, and from my experience each have their own uses, and while not mandatory, the author advises Stellaris to be used alongside Mysticism and Adamant for an even better mage gameplay experience. Now you might say all these mods are great and all, but the creatures are still the same, performing old repetitive moves that we all memorized by now. Well, there is a mod for that. In fact, multiple. New creature animations are animation packs by a single author that adds additional deadly attacks to giants, trolls, falmers, atronachs, and a bunch other. They're actually animated pretty well, and some of them are really quick and deadly, thus decent reaction time is necessary regardless of your combat setup. These animations require Animation Replacer to be fully utilized by the creatures affected by the mod. Goes without saying that the title for the best first-person combat mod goes to CFPAO, a mod covered in detail in the past on this channel that adds thousands of first-person animations and includes unique movesets depending on the weapon type wielded, and claimed its rightful throne over its predecessor size matters. Now, something for the Screen Archer Skyrim community. Just today, one of the most popular skin mods for female characters have been updated. Diamond Skin is a skin texture mod that aims to provide female characters with a ridiculous high-definition skin textures that supports multiple body types made by the community, and whilst providing multiple map options such as smooth, chubby, and muscle, satisfying all criterias. The author states that the skin is intended for K-pop looking female presets, so you know it's appropriate for Skyrim. It's also becoming one of the most popular skin textures on the Nexus. We are reaching the levels of skin quality that is absurd at this point, and in my case, Diamond Skin turns my character into an 18-year-old. As mentioned, this skin is for Screen Archers of the community and probably going to be used by my wife, who's going to be streaming modded playthrough again, so go give her a follow. Anyway, once you're done creating your perfect big-tittied anime waifu, it's only logical to be able to look at her as much as possible. Show Player in Menus, an SKSC plugin that allows the user to see their character while messing around in their inventory. The mod is fully interactable. Every time you interact with an equipable item, it will reflect on your character. Depending on your setup, you might have to edit camera values, so if you're using my Smooth Cam preset, here they are if you want to replicate what you see on the screen. No furniture camera. You know how when you're trying to sit down or interact with any furniture item in the game awkwardly snaps into weird third-person bird-eye hybrid camera angle? Well, after a full decade and some, Immersion has decided to tackle this and simply made a mod that removes this camera angle. Now, your camera values from whatever mod they may be are going to be intact regardless of which type of furniture you interact with. Another bonus is that it works with Skyclimb mod. Skyclimb is a mod that utilizes animated traversal and further improves it by allowing the player to climb any object in the world space. Users can approach a climbable surface and a subtle green indicator will appear, prompting the player to utilize either climbing or vaulting features. Okay, so a quick question. For those of you that made it to this part of the video, do you want to see a part 2? There are city and settlement overhauls, follower mods, flora and quest size mods, and bunch others that I wanted showcased, but once again I didn't want to have this video be too long. Please let me know down in the comments below. I very much appreciate your feedback, and hold me responsible if I don't deliver like last year. Other than that, endorse the authors, subscribe to this channel if you like modding coverage, and I will see you next week. Take care.